So hey guys, this is a special epic level B with Mike B and Buddha here. We just watched Krull, the 1983 movie, and it's
It wants to be a lot of things.
basically it's if you took Conan and
God.
pushed Beast Hunter and Star Wars into it.
And then put as much filler as you can in between all three of those.
There is so much filler in this goddamn movie. This movie, I swear, you probably could cut it like an hour out. It should be like an hour long. But you have...
Climbing rocks for 10, 15 minutes. You have... oh fuck, what was... There's so many ones, I'm almost dead to them now.
There's climbing rocks. There's walking through the swamp. That's like at least 5 or 10 minutes. Just walking through the swamp. Traveling on the super horses. Inferno horses with fire on their feet.
Starting forest fires everywhere.
Oh yeah. They just and the scenery, man.
I think they got a lot of scenery shots, mainly because they didn't have a lot of anything else. And then at some point they actually I think they actually drove a car and had the horses, diagonally back behind them, and and that's why they were such bad cutouts though.
Yeah, the matting was not
terrible.
super. I've seen worse. Mostly Turkish films, but I've seen worse. But it was pretty fucking bad. Like probably an hour of this movie, a solid hour of this movie is scenery or traveling.
Or long panning shots
Of scenery
that just
traveling
are way too long.
Just
way
my God.
too long, like a full 45 seconds to pan a mountain.
Oh yeah.
Which
We're
that's
panning,
cool, but
we're panning and panning and panning. Oh my God. But seriously, I think if you cut out all of that really non-essential stuff, you'd be left with the stuff that was only sort of essential.
there wasn't much actually happening in this movie.
No. Basically, the plot is that a big bad thing
Comes from outer space.
That's right. It flies in a mountain castle from outer space and lands on a planet.
Yep.
And then a nondescript amount of time later, he is at war. He's fighting a ground war with laser beams
Yes, against
shitty
Star
guys with
Troopers.
swords. So, and then there's a princess and a prince are going to get married.
Yeah.
And he interrupts their wedding
by
and
assaulting their castle.
by assaulting the castle that they're in, where and then everyone gets killed except for the prince, who just gets like a flesh wound
That goes right through him.
that goes right through him. And he falls down a flight of stairs onto his head, but he's okay. And the princess that escapes through she's taken.
She's captured.
She's captured. Yeah.
She gets taken back to the enemy mountain HQ. That we find not long after teleports sporadically
That's
to
right.
wherever
Every day.
it seems to want at daybreak, right?
Yeah.
Daybreak.
Yeah, dawn.
Dawn or daybreak.
When the suns rise. The twin suns.
The twin suns, yes.
Because this is space. We're on alien planet.
Space. And then they have to find out where the fuck it is to actually even fight it.
Yeah, because the world is big enough that it can teleport to a different place every day, and they're constantly trying to find where the fortress is. That's the biggest challenge in this movie.
Yeah.
And they go to two different people to figure this out. They go to the seer.
Yes, the blind seer.
Beast does not like curious seers.
And the blind seer's like, we got to go into the swamps because there's an emerald.
Well, he tried to divine the location of the thing, and the guy's like, no, his
And it
hand comes
broke
out of
his
nowhere
crystal.
and crushes the crystal. And he's like, no, and everybody's like, oh no.
Yeah, there was a lot of dumb in this movie.
That was before we even mentioned the bandits.
Oh, the bandits. So there's so they're walking through the mountains, and an old man rescues the prince, and then he's like, we got to go through the sewer. So the old man brings him through a shortcut in the mountains, and then a bunch of bandits are like gonna rob them basically.
Yeah.
And then the king's like, you can be my army, and then all the bandits just agree, really
Pretty quickly,
because the theory is that the big bad is going to blow up the whole world. He's going to put everyone enslaved and ruin everything, so the bandits will be slaves anyways.
Yeah.
How did you know I had sons?
If the Slayers conquer Krull, your sons will be enslaved. Forever.
Okay.
They go to the blind seer guy, and the blind seer is like, tries to divine the location of the evil bad guy fortress, and it, as he said, the claw, the blind seer says we have to go to the swamp to the Emerald Kingdom Palace.
Temple or something.
Temple. It's like emeralds, and it's where he can divine. It's where has lots of power.
And it's like 3 trees like right next to each other.
Yeah, and the problem is we never see this.
Well, we see the trees, but
We see the trees, but we don't see this emerald place. I think they ran out of budget.
yeah,
They're like, let's just quickly. I think that was a script edit right there.
yeah.
They're like, we can't do this.
When the seer sits down, that's where everything gets really odd, because you get this. Then they get in quicksand for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, there's 5 minutes of
and
dragging.
they lose like 3 guys or 2 guys.
Yeah,
There's so much dragging in this
dragging,
movie. It's ridiculous.
pulling, people going
Filling.
for long periods.
Doing nothing.
So yeah, and then the seer, they place the seer, there's a shape changing wizard that's comic relief in this movie,
Yeah.
Ergo.
Yeah.
And for some reason Ergo is he's a friend, they meet up with him and all that, but he puts the seer about 1,000 feet away from where everyone else is, so he's very secluded, and then a evil shape changing he like grabs his neck and kills the seer and throws him in the quicksand and assumes his place, and he wants to kill our prince.
Yeah.
We forgot about the Cyclops.
Fuck, I don't care. About
So there's a Cyclops too, with a trident, with a tri-spear thing.
Yeah, that can throw it with unbelievable accuracy.
He will insta kill anything he throws it at. He joins up along the way too, and what happens is the seer says we got to go on to the Emerald place, the fake seer,
Yeah.
because the real seer's dead. Everyone leaves except for the Cyclops guy, who says he will stay behind to make sure they're not being followed, which they were anyways.
Yeah.
They were followed anyways. It didn't matter if anyone was standing behind or anything.
Mm-hmm. The doppelganger says, I must go to the Emerald Temple, which is the 3 trees in the distance, with the king. And then he's like, guide me, king. He puts his hand on his shoulder.
Yeah.
Then he's just about to kill him with his fingers. And then the Cyclops, seeing the dead body, because for some reason the quicksand just
burped up the
body for some reason.
Which is not how quicksand works.
It's magic quicksand. I don't give a shit. And then he runs. This poor guy he can't see where he's going.
Yeah, the prosthetic blocks his eyes.
So he's
and then
running
he has a plastic eye on the front.
somewhat through the river. A river, and then he like picks up his trident, and then he throws it like 200 meters dead straight into the back of the
he
doppelganger.
crit hits. He rolls like 320s, and he just fucking heart seeks with a trident at like 300 feet.
Yeah.
And then the fake seer is like, ah!
And then he bubbles and shit.
And then he gets sucked into the ground.
Yes. All the enemy guys, whenever they died, they're like this little snake thing in the head, and then they all go into the ground.
Which is never explained.
Yeah, none of this is explained. Any of this.
Really, nothing is explained in this movie.
Yeah.
That really just plot points kind of just come and go. So the old guy not the fixer, but the old guy who rescued the prince at the very beginning. It's like, there's one last way we can find out where the fortress is. I will go to the lady in the web.
Widow of the web. That creature helped no one.
And then everybody's
And
just
it's
like,
a
this
spider
sounds
lady.
like a bad fucking idea.
Everybody's like, the lady in the web is really deadly.
She kills everybody.
She kills everybody. Yeah, she does kill everybody.
Yeah.
So he goes to this, and then we have like a 10-minute segment where he's crawling like on tightrope wires, like he's holding a rope and walking a rope.
But they're all spider silk. Everything's spider
Well,
silk.
whatever, right?
But the thing is,
I mean, like,
it's all sticky.
Yeah, it should be sticky, but it's not. Whatever. And then they've got like cheap, like stretched cotton, like you put in like your house for a Halloween decoration. They've got that everywhere, and it's a spider cave. So what happens is he gets on the wires, and then a spider starts coming at him, like a big
Crystal spider.
a claymation crystal spider that's, very clearly not real. Whatever, right? It's what they could do. Whatever. And then he calls out. He's like, Alyssa, and then she's like, this woman in this large yellow pus sack sitting in the middle of the spider web is like, who is it?
Who speaks that name?
And he's like, it's Dagon
Fuck
or
if I
something.
know.
He's like Dagon or something. And then she's like, I'll give you 30 seconds. And she turns over a thing, like a hourglass. And
Yeah.
you see the sand going down, and it takes forever. This elderly man, actor, is slowly making his way across the web, and we see the spider never in the same scene as this man. It must be like 4 or 5 minutes. She's slowly making his way to this little chamber pus thing in the middle of the spider web. And you're just like, oh my god. And then he finally makes it, and then the woman in the middle is his ex-lover that he left for reasons unknown, duty.
To save pretty much the kingdom, I have a feeling.
Yeah,
a
but we
kingdom
don't know
world.
that. No one. That's not explained. Nothing is explained.
Long story short, she had a kid. It was his kid. She killed his kid because she couldn't kill him because she's a fucking bitch.
Women in this movie are either very poorly represented or very bad. This is not a movie you want to see if you're like a person who tends to like seeing strong female
You can't
figures.
take a movie with weaker female characters.
It's this movie I found annoying how weak the female characters were. The spider lady is like, I couldn't kill my husband that left me, so I killed my only child. And I just feel like that's really not likely. I feel like that's very unlikely for a mother to kill her child over a man that was an asshole. I feel like that's really,
I don't know.
it's really unlikely. It pulled me out because I was like, are you kidding? You killed your child because a man left you? Even in a fantasy script, it sounds really stupid. And then the princess, she gets kidnapped and she just kind of waffles around and does nothing.
Yeah,
and
the big bad guy is like, you can wander around anywhere in my castle as long as you're within these walls. And
she's like, okay, and she just kind of runs around
and then
she's in her wedding dress the whole time.
yeah. The whole movie.
Yeah.
And
For
the thing-
days.
Days, yeah.
Because they constantly say, oh, it'll take a day's travel. It'll take a day's. So they're traveling for days, and
It's
this woman's running around this castle in a wedding dress.
It almost feels like it's like a week from when she gets captured to when she gets...
Yeah, at least 4 or 5 days.
Yeah.
So, anyways, he gets in there, and the woman is like, I will break the sand.
In the spider...
I'll
Spider
break my
person.
hourglass and hand you some sand, and if you hold up the sand and shake it, the spider won't eat you. But once all the sand is out of your hand, you die.
And I die too.
Everybody dies. And I'm like, yeah, okay, you didn't pull that out of your ass.
And then he slowly, inefficiently gets across back the spider silk again.
Slowly. It's like 2/3 as long again.
And then when he gets out of there, he
And
takes...
there's no danger because he has the sand to stop the spider.
Yeah.
So it's just an old man moving over tight ropes at like 10 different angles.
Yeah.
And then he finally gets outside and he's like, "You've got to go to the Iron Desert. That's where the fortress will be."
Takes him another 2 minutes to fucking die.
And he dies. And then they're like, "Well, we got to go to the Iron Desert, but it's a long distance away.
It's 1,000 kilometers.
Leagues, 1,000 leagues."
Oh,
which
sorry.
is no, a league is insert how long a league is here. That's how long a league is. It's not a short distance. So then they say, the prince is like, "We've got to get fire
horses.
fire hoof horses,
Fire.
blaze hoofs." Anyways, they need to get basically nightmares, basically.
That would have been really cool, but it's
Yeah.
not in this movie.
Insert nightmare picture. Anyways, nightmares are really cool, but they find some instantly. And some cowboys that I guess are part of their gang
With whips and
with
lassos.
whips and
shit.
lassos, and they herd all of these what looks like Clydesdale kind of horses
Mm-hmm.
into a dead end ravine, like how you would catch a
Bison. or-
bison or
that kind of-
buffaloes or whatever you want to call it. So they get them, and then they instantly jump on all these horses, and
Now they're tamed.
now they're tamed. And the Cyclops says he has to stay behind because the Cyclopses can read the future and they know exactly when they're going to die. That's all they can read the future of. So he's like, "I die here in this ravine where, again..."
Even in
And
the
then-
story, it makes no sense.
Yeah, it just makes no sense. So then everyone jumps on the horses, and the horses start, pick up the pace, and I'm like,
Yep.
okay, well, they're normal horses. That seems like they're not going to go very fast. They're like, "Okay, boys, hold on." And then their feet light on fire with a really, really shitty matte effect. Like a really, really poorly advised.
And for the most of the time when they're traveling, it takes about 3 minutes to actually get there.
Oh, fuck
They-
that.
they
It's more
pretty
like
much-
5 minutes.
Yeah, well, they pretty much make it so like the horse is here, and you don't even see past the horse's.
Yeah, there's like a
knees.
horse, and then you see the knees,
You just
and
see
then
the
there's
fire coming up
coming
and
off of
around.
the feet.
Well, it's not even on the feet. It's just like
Their knees,
you
yeah,
see
their
like,
legs
a
are
little
kind of
above
on
his-
fire.
above the horse's knees. So you're like, oh man,
And then
the legs are on fire.
they switch at least what seems like 100 times between like the super wide scenery shot where it shows like a trail of fire across the landscape.
Yeah, and it just looks like you said. It was like it looked like guys on ATVs with flares driving down.
But but their trail was on fire, so they must have, maybe they set some liquid on fire, or but anyways, they swap between shots of our actors on the horses with fire on their legs,
Yeah.
and then long scenery shots where there's a trail of fire on the landscape.
And
Back
they did this
forth,
about 4 or
back
5
and forth.
times at least.
It's felt like 100 times. It was like 5 minutes, and it's like we get it, and then eventually they jump off a cliff, but
Oh,
the
God.
horses fly like Santa's reindeer. They fly into the sky on fire, and everybody's like, "Woo!" It wasn't the problem. Like most problems in this movie, it's not that the idea was bad. It's the execution is so long and forced.
It's too much filler.
There's too much filler. If they had just shown them riding and then jumping off the cliff on fire, I would have been like, "Oh, that's kind of cool."
Yeah.
And then landing and at the fortress. But no, they show like four or 5 minutes of them flying, and then they're back on the landscape, and then they're flying.
You know what would have been better if they got the horses, they started it, and then they did the fire thingy, and then they're like, and then they get right at the fortress. They're like, "Oh man, that was a long time."
Yeah, that would
would've
have been good.
Way cleaner.
Have one line that says, "Wow, that was very fast. We're just in time."
Yeah.
There you go. We're just in time. 4 words. Anyways, 4 words. 2 seconds instead of 5 minutes. So they get to the fortress, and it's almost sunrise. Almost the sun started risen.
Yeah.
So they start climbing up the edge of the fortress. I don't think they had any plan at all.
No,
They had no plan whatsoever. They're just like, "We got to get in the fortress," and they just start climbing. We don't know to where. And then thankfully, like, little doors open up that the bad guys' henchmen start shooting out of. The goons. They're like, psh, with their lasers. So they climb up, and these doors open. Thankfully, they have some access, an egress into this fortress now. But they're pinned down by lots of there's 3 or 4 of these doors, and they're shooting, and they're pinned down. So then we see Cyclops guy riding on a flame horse. Coming in really, really, I guess, very, very quickly.
Almost faster than 1,000 leagues a second.
I don't know, because he said he wanted to stay there to die, and he's like, I cannot come with you. And then, without any explanation, he just shows up at the fortress, and he gets shot, like, I think at least twice.
Twice or 3 times.
Like, we see people get shot, and they're done.
No, yeah. Except for the prince, but he got shot in the arms.
Yeah, he got shot, like, well, we see people shot, like, in the arms, you're fine. If you get shot in the body, you're dead. But the Cyclops guy gets shot in the chest, the front, the torso, and he's like, oh, and he keeps on moving.
Yeah, and I was just like, what?
But then he moves up to one of the doors and stabs the guy in it to kind of clear the way, and then everyone starts climbing behind him.
And then the door is closing, and
he gets in the way
and holds it.
He holds it open, lets everyone get through, and then does not get out of the way, and is crushed in the door. Which I guess was his epic finale. He's like, when I die, I will be crushed by the door of the bad guy's fortress.
That's pretty shit. They could have used his help.
He saw the future. That's what he saw. There's no doors in that ravine.
I don't know.
I don't get it. Like, the movie like makes the logic, and then it's just like, nope, that's not how it is.
That whole section with him is generally frustrating.
So all of the guys are in the fortress, and immediately Liam Neeson, whom was the bandit's right-hand man
the whole time,
and he gets several lines. He gets probably almost as many lines as the bandit king
leader himself.
Yeah. So he's obviously fairly important, not to the plot, but he's no one's important to the plot, but he's fairly important. He gets shot instantly.
Look out!
And he's like, tell Martha I loved her, which is one of the wives that...
He has 7 wives or something in like a bunch of towns.
This is that kind of the misogynist in the movie talking a little bit, you know? Yeah. He has 7 wives, and the only reason that any of these wives are shown is they need to make the men food. So earlier in the movie when they camped and they needed food, they were hungry, Liam Neeson got his wife to make them food and brought along a woman for no reason. No reason whatsoever.
Except for to have his princess chick. The bad guy was like, love means nothing in the world. Power is the only thing that matters to the princess. And she's like, no, love is everything. And then he shows the extra girl trying to flirt with the prince guy.
And the prince is like,
nope, I ain't having nothing of it. And she's like, no, he's not going to betray me. He's not going to betray me.
And he didn't.
And he didn't. And then that chick turns out to be one of the evil guy's minions. And she gets all these long claws and is ugly as shit. And then he's like... And she's like, I could have killed you 1,000 times, but I didn't because I love you now.
Because in the 1 hour, this is the line, in the 1 hour I knew you, I loved you.
In the hour I knew you, I loved you.
I loved you.
This man is so amazing that in an hour, she would die for him. Because that's what she did. Actually, she was just kind of... She was screen wiped off. The special effect was, you will die. And then her little image just goes
But this
off
was
the
matted onto another freaking section.
There's so much shitty matting. So Liam Neeson dies.
Yeah.
And then the movie gets really, really confusing.
Because the party splits off in 3 directions.
Yeah. Yeah, it does, yeah. 3 or 4 directions.
3 of the guys get caught in like this fucking spike room that is spikes are going randomly.
Yeah, like Indiana Jones, but really poorly done.
It's pretty much if you have like a kid making a spike trap.
Yeah, it's like a rocky room they're in, and it has holes in the wall, and they're like...
And the spikes are already partially out anyway,
and
so
they
you
don't
know they're there.
mind them. They don't care. They just walk right between them, and then one guy gets stabbed, and the bandit guy's like holding one back with his bandit strength. Yeah. And the young kid is like holding, because he's the young boy.
Yeah.
So he's holding it and he's trying not to make it stab him in the stomach. And they're there for the rest of the movie.
Pretty much.
Until the end.
Until everybody else is like, what's going on here?
And then the
mage guy and the little boy, the actual small boy.
Yeah, Ergo, the shape-shifting mage man, has created a very strong friendship with the Seer's young apprentice.
Yeah.
Or cinnamon bread boy, because that's
just
what
makes food for him.
He makes cinnamon bread.
I have a cinnamon bar.
The prince finally finds his way to the central chamber where the princess is being held.
Yes.
He then proceeds to use his glaive as a form of
We even forgot to
saw?
mention the glaive thingy.
Oh, okay. So the first thing you see in the movie is a glaive. It's like whoop, 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 whoop. It's like a 5.
And then it does the title screen.
Yeah, it does a title wipe.
Krull.
It's like Krull. Whoop, 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 whoop. And
it has nothing in the movie until the end of the movie.
so at the very first start of the movie, the prince gets the glaive. The old man says, "Go get the glaive," and he
and the tallest cave on the highest of this mountain. kind of thing,
and he sticks his hand into lava,
to get it.
and then he picks up the glaive, and now he's got it, and that's it.
Of course, you can tell the lava's fake because it's got the shitty fire
Well,
effects.
it's shitty lava. You know, it actually looked pretty good compared to a lot of the effects in the movie.
And the whole time I'm like, dude, that's fucking lava.
No, he just sticks his hand right in. He doesn't grab his sword and like poke it or test it. No, he's like, the first thing he does is like rolls up his sleeve.
I can't
And
get
his arm literally, visually is on fire.
Yes.
But he doesn't burn.
My favorite part is he's like, I can't get lava on my shirt. I mean, seriously.
Yeah, no kidding. It's like, of all things today would bring,
I can't have lava on my shirt.
that shit stains.
That shit stains.
Jesus.
Never mind my whole right arm.
So he's got this glaive, and, you know, the old man said, don't use the glaive.
Until you absolutely have to, kind of thing.
Yeah, so
And then-
this is the moment he has to use it, is to cut a door.
And then literally he's like, he takes it and he's like, shing, and he has his hand out for like
He's like holding it. He's
5 minutes, and he's meticulously like, what is?
like, he goes between like confused and
And-
expectant kind of.
And confident.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, this is working. He's like, wait a minute, is this working? Oh yeah, this is working.
No, they literally just used the same shot like 4 times.
Oh, was it
They went
just
from
the same?
confident to like expectant, and then like worrisome, and then it.
They
did
just
that
had him
every single
stand there
time.
for like 20 minutes and just
I
be
know.
like, make faces. With
And
your
everybody
hand
else is fucking dying around, and he's diddling around with his fucking thing. Grab the
so
thing and stab it.
So the glaive is spinning and
It's-
making a very loud, like saw through steel kind of noise. Like, so
To get
she's
her
inside
out.
this place, and it's got these kind of bubbled windows all over it.
With like, it's like that pretty much.
If you've
like-
ever seen Frieza's spaceship, it looks like Frieza's spaceship.
Yeah.
It's got the bubbles
And
out.
it's, but it's got like paper in between, like special magical looking paper.
Anyway, so he's cutting one of these windows, and it takes
5 minutes.
it takes at least 5 minutes.
to do anything.
And between this, they cut back to shots of Ergo turning into a tiger, and he roars, and he cuts up some goons.
I have no idea why the goons.
And then the
didn't
guy's
shoot
getting
them.
stabbed more in that stab chamber, and then it cuts back to him, the prince, holding his hand out, and as this glaive slowly
And then
chews through this door.
on the other side, the princess is like, "Oh my God, he's coming to save me!" And you see his progress.
You see his progress. But the princess, does she know?
Fuck.
She just hears like a loud grinding noise and sparks.
And like a saw.
How would she know?
Well, and this is all in medieval times,
Wow.
mind you.
They're on a spaceship.
They don't fucking know that. They just don't think it's a castle
They don't seem surprised when the guys pull out blasters and stuff.
because they've been pulling them out the whole fucking time.
Anyways, he finally cuts the door. Oh my God. He finally cuts the door open, and the prince is like, "My prince!" And they embrace.
They make out for half a second.
Yeah, and then the big bad, for whatever reason, is on the far end of the room.
No, he's not there yet. He has to make, for some reason, he has to hit the rocks with his glaive.
That's right.
For
He hits
a full minute and a half at least.
for no reason that explained.
And
they
then it's
they
like-
start to run a little bit, and then he turns around. He's like, "I need to glaive those rocks."
Yeah.
And then he throws his glaive, and we watch
The
as
glaive goes
slowly
and then comes back and then breaks some more
goes.
rocks, comes back, breaks some more rocks on the other side, comes back, does it on the other side,
and
comes
then
back.
a shot of the prince going, "I have to control this." So eventually, lots of rocks have fallen.
And we have no idea why.
We don't know why. We
Um,
don't. They don't have to escape through a route that these are just rocks that are opposite to the escape route.
Yeah, he's going back the way he came.
Yeah, yes, you should, because that's where they get out.
Yeah.
So, but the big gad pops out of the rocks.
Yeah, for some reason. It's
For-
almost like he was letting him out.
Yeah, yeah, actually.
Yeah.
Anyways, the big bad's like, "Rawr, and then, really, it's really fucking stupid.
The suit that the bad guy's in.
Oh
whatever, is
god, I didn't want
terrible.
to talk about that.
Just terrible.
It's just, oh my Jesus, dude. It's like it's like if you took like $30 and went to like Home Depot and like the party tree and
Yeah.
like picked up all the shit you would have to make a crappy costume and then just glued it and painted it all black. And green and ugh.
And he had like shitty spike gloves.
Yeah, it's vampire
And they're all
teeth.
rubbery and
So anyways, the prince decides that the way to attack him, he throws his glaive and it injures
his right arm.
bad guy's arm.
Cuts him a little bit.
And
Like,
the
oh,
prince is
dude.
like, so the glaive is just spinning in the air for like 30, 40
the
seconds.
thing is, it goes to the glaive, the bad guy, the prince. The glaive, the bad guy, the prince. The glaive, and now the glaive actually is like, oh shit, I'm gonna cut this guy. Right into his chest.
No.
Or-
It bounces around. The bad guy watches it like a cat
Oh,
watching
shit.
keys.
Right.
Like 2 or 3 times it's bouncing around. And then Krull's like, I've clearly disoriented the enemy. Or is his name Krull?
I have no fucking
Whatever.
idea.
And,
I
but,
think it's the bad
but
guy.
he throws his... Then the glaive penetrates into the bad guy's chest and he appears to be instantly defeated and
Yes.
falls on his back. And for another 2 minutes,
You think he's dead?
you think he's dead, and the prince is using his force, because it's like force powers. He's using his force to pull the glaive out, kind of, and it pulls out a bit, but it sinks back in. Pulls out and sinks back in. And we watch this for 2 minutes. We're like, dude, just go over and pull it out with your hand. And then he does that after 2 minutes of trying to pull it out with his mind.
And then, right before he pulls it out, the bad guy gets up. He's like, "Oh no! They think that could stop me! No!" And then the guy and the chick are like, "Oh my god, we can't take this guy straight!" And then they go down into the little catacombs under that. Remember?
No.
Remember what? Okay, and then she's like, "We are married. I have to give you the fire that I have in my hand." And he's just like, "What?" She's like, "Here, take
give
this
you the
fire."
fire.
And it's just like, "Oh,
So,
okay."
the
And then
marriage-
it's just like, "I have fire now." And I'm just like, "What?"
So the marriage ceremony at the start of the movie, the prince puts a torch in some water, and then he says, "I give my fire to the water, and only the woman I love can take the fire from the water."
I give fire to water.
And then the princess puts her hand in the water and lights it on. Her hand goes on fire,
Bad matting.
but it doesn't hurt her. And then he's like, "I give my fire to my husband," and that's the second that they get interrupted. So this is a callback to that, where she's like, "I have fire to give you,"
Yeah.
and then she hands him the fire, and now he's like got fire on his hand. And then he uses it to fucking incinerate the villain.
He has like a giant flamethrower in his hand. Now.
It's he's just like this. He's like, and it's like,
or he does it like that or something.
or
like,
he like does like several different. They're like, just do what feels good.
Just feels right.
Just yeah, do what feels right. And he's shooting, and the bad guy's like, I'm being fucking flamified, you know?
And then he's just like, "Time to light him up again."
Again,
Time to light
probably
him up
another
again.
2 minutes.
At least
At least another 2 minutes of our prince standing, using fire on the enemy, and the enemy going, ah!
This was the
2
reason they went
minutes.
down is because did I say that we can't hurt him with the glaive anymore? We have to hurt him with each other, kind of thing.
Yeah,
Because of
we've
our
got to
love.
hurt him together
With our love.
because of our love. So the bad guy's defeated. The Spikes get out of the bandit and his
The guys.
male friend, and they gang up, and the Ergo, the mage guy, and the little kid boy,
Yeah.
they all run out of the castle.
Because it's now collapsing because the bad guy was the only thing.
Yeah,
holding the
he was
capsule.
holding it. So they run, and of course, the castle had situated itself in a nice field, so they run into a nice green field, and they lay down and wait. And then we slowly
For the next 3 minutes.
watch the castle crumbling, and then there's reverse gravity. It's like going up. We
Into the
don't know
sky.
where. Not into space, not into the sky, just off
It's for the
screen.
next movie.
It's going into the off screen.
It's going into the next
And
movie.
we
That's what's
watch
going.
every single particle of this castle go up. Like the dust, like big pieces, medium pieces, tiny pieces, dust, motes of dust, fragments of ether. And then after like 10 minutes, it feels like, of this castle slowly removing itself from our vision, everyone's like, huh. And then there's a joke at the end where the prince gives the bandit guy the key, and then the bandit guy says, only the king and the head marshal have this key, and the king and the prince, who is now the king,
The key to unlock his
the
shackles.
key to unlock
all the bandits have,
shackles.
Bandits have shackles on their neck or on their arms.
Yeah, all
or
2
something.
bandits that survived from the original 40 or whatever.
Yeah. They're all-
Everyone, all of them died. All of them died. They were
mostly
drowned.
in horrible ways.
They were
too.
shot, stabbed, tortured. They fell. People fell.
Yeah.
So he hands him the key, and now the bandit is his head marshal. And what was the sequel fodder at the end? Oh, that's right. The sequel fodder was,
A girl of ancient name shall become queen. She shall choose a king, and together they shall rule our world. And their son shall rule the galaxy.
so that's our fodder, is what's the story with the son that never happened. This movie was almost 2 hours on the dot, including credits. It was really too long.
It was 1 hour and 20 minutes too long.
Yeah. This felt like an episode of BeastMaster, The Next Generation or whatever. The TV shows. It
Yeah,
felt
I
like
know.
that. So many things in the plot don't have to happen. Going to meet the seer doesn't have to happen because the seer is killed, and we never go to the emerald place where the seer figures out
The glaive doesn't even have to happen either.
the glaive doesn't have to happen either. It's useless because at the very end she's like, you can't use the glaive. It won't kill him. Even though the old man at the very start was like, the glaive is what will kill him.
It's the only thing that will stop him.
Yeah.
Once the blade was a very powerful weapon, it can be so again.
The only thing that will stop him, and is a very powerful weapon. No, the most powerful weapon in this is a man's hand,
His heart.
a man's heart, when a woman gives him stuff. It's that whole it's continuing that misogynist trend, where it's like
I just call him really bad Mati right now.
Mati.
Mati.
I don't know what that is.
Planet.
Planet of the Apes. Never
No.
watched it.
Oh my god.
Oh
Captain Planet.
Captain Planet.
The 5th guy, Heart.
Oh,
Mati.
Mati.
Yeah.
I thought you meant Kwame.
No.
Okay, so they didn't need to get the glaive. They didn't need to go to the swamp. They didn't need to go to the seer. That whole plot doesn't advance the plot at all.
They
No
really,
one learns anything.
No one learns anything except for the prince guy gets to shoot fire out of his hands, all like infinite flamethrower.
No one
And
really learned really much in this movie, other than
I think
when
the
a woman
bandit-
hands you fire, it turns into a flamethrower.
I think the bandit leader actually learned a tiny amount.
Yeah, the bandit leader had the best arc.
Yeah, of who he actually had some weapon.
Ergo had an arc too, sort of.
The
The shape-changing mage learned that he likes little boys.
No, he just wanted the little boy wanted a puppy, so he's like, okay, fine, I'll become a fucking puppy.
And I'll let you touch me and hold me.
He's a fucking puppy. He doesn't care.
Where's Urgo?
He'll be back soon.
He could have just found a puppy. He's
In a
a
fucking
mage.
swamp.
He's a mage.
He's a shit mage. Oh, it sucked. Oh. It sucked the whole way through.
Okay, it didn't. The start of the movie, we were high. We were not. We weren't high.
It freaking dropped down.
We were
fast.
positive. The movie starts quite positive, and then in the middle, you realize that there's still like an hour left, and no
Nothing's
one has
happened.
Yeah, no one's gotten anywhere. No one's really learned anything. No one's advanced the plot.
Nope.
And then at the hour 30 mark, you're like, okay, we're.
There's got to be finishing up.
Yeah, we got it.
soon.
Yeah, because things are kind of. I don't know why they stretch it so long.
I don't know why they.
It's like a 60-minute movie, maybe.
They have so many long landscaping shots. I think because they were in the middle of fucking nowhere, and there was no, they didn't have to pay anybody to get rights to film there because they're in the middle of a fucking field and nobody's gonna stop them.
Yeah, they never shoot. This movie is entirely shot outside of civilization. As they never go to a town, other than they go to the castle. In the very start of the movie, that's a set. They never go to any civilized area. You never see any sort of road, dirt roads or anything like that. You never see any buildings, ever. You never see like people doing normal things. All you see is our troop traveling through untamed forests or swamps or wasteland.
Yep.
Or fields or whatever. You never see civilization.
Yep.
And unfortunately, in a story like that, you have to have characters that are good.
Well, they were at the castle at the very start, but
Well, that's what I mean. That's the only place.
yeah,
Other than that, and that's like maybe 8 minutes, 6 minutes.
yeah. Man, those guards were just.
And they introduce the fathers, which have nothing to do with the plot.
Yeah, they're like, oh.
So many things just didn't need to be in this movie. It's a simple movie. It's
This-
a princess got kidnapped. I need to get her. That's it.
This movie didn't need to be in this movie.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Is there anything else you have to add?
Overall?
Yeah.
Oh, I really hated the Cyclops. He was a waste of time.
Oh, yeah. The Cyclops didn't need. See, I've already forgotten the characters because they don't matter.
Yeah.
The only guy who really mattered was the prince, the old guy.
And the bandit leader.
Even the bandit leader didn't even really matter.
He got it.
He didn't have to be there.
I think he was his army, as he said. He was his
He didn't
army.
need an army. At the end, they had like 6 guys. That was their army that was left.
Yeah.
Everybody else died on the road.
As a memento of our journey.
Yeah, or were shot.
Yeah, so the only people because the old man got the fortress information. The prince had to save the princess.
Yeah.
That's it. And the princess who needed saving, and the bad guy.
Yeah.
Really, those are the 4 characters that are pivotal to this movie. The rest could have been abstracted or
Taken out completely.
yeah, and then without them wasting time, the movie would have been so much shorter.
We didn't need the little
Could have been
boy.
half an hour.
We didn't need the shape-changing mage.
No, he had no reason.
I think the little boy was even more superfluous.
Yeah, he had no reason to be there. He didn't need an
12?
army. I don't know why they added that. It would have. I mean, it obviously made it cost a lot more to make. You had to have all these actors.
Yeah,
and
and
action scenes.
Liam Neeson, yeah.
And Liam Neeson, why the hell was he in this?
My traveling days are over, my friend.
We'll get you out of here.
No, here's where I stay.
I think he just needed the money, or he just.
Well, yeah,
needed
but
the
why
extra
hire? Why buy him?
This was back in 84.
83.
83? Oh, God. Yeah, this was way before Liam Neeson got anywhere. So this is one of his
Schlock fix. flicks.
starter-ish roles.
So I think before we talk about our recommendation.
Is a recommendation after this?
I would recommend. I would recommend this to a particular port of people, but I want to say that this is very much a product of the success of stuff like Conan and Star Wars. It's very heavily influenced by Star Wars. The music is very, especially at some points, is really like
almost spot on for Star Wars.
Yeah, it's like you would call the copyright police kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like it's very close in certain points.
I'm surprised George Lucas didn't go phoning.
Yeah, and even some of the landscapes are similar to Star Wars type landscapes.
Yes.
You know, the characters have similarities to some Star Wars characters. Like we were saying, the old guy is kind of like Yoda.
Who are you?
I am Ynir.
The old one.
And he is kind of like Yoda.
That's fine. I'm trying to forget them right now.
Yeah, it's so if you liked Star Wars and you liked Conan and you don't mind kind of the production budget of something like BeastMaster, where it's kind of like
Shoestrings.
B, C grade. That's the thing, is there was some money spent on this movie. You can tell.
Well, the costumes were good.
Yeah, the costumes were pretty good.
The equipment was good.
The effects were pretty good.
Like, the guys actually legitimately looked like they actually had real swords.
Yeah, they looked like they looked like real swords.
Yeah.
And the combat, the choreography was retardedly bad.
Yes.
The sword fights, especially in the beginning, where it's probably a 3 or 4 minute sword fight with the prince and the princess getting kidnapped.
Guys.
That it's really bad.
Just unbelievably stupid.
Really poorly executed, but the effects, the laser effects, are quite good.
Yeah.
I was fairly impressed. Some of the set effects, like the lava cave where he retrieves the glaive from.
Yeah.
I really was appreciative of the kind of a little bit of the artistry put there. It did. I was in a second I knew that was a cave full of lava, and that's at the end of the day that's what really matters to me. Is I want things to, when they're supposed to look like something, they look enough like it where I instantly get it.
Where the fuck was there lava at the top, at the highest point in the tallest mountain
In a
cave?
desert where there's like you know, no seismic
The only
activity.
thing you got there is sun and fuck all, and fuck all is pervading.
Some of the designs in the fortress I found very lazy. It looked like just styrofoam or clay or something. It looks like a big mountain castle made of clay. At the very start of the movie, we see the bottom of this castle flowing through space, a la Star Wars. You know, with the Star Destroyer.
They're like
flowing above.
hexagons.
Yeah, it's
like
tons
in
of
and out.
hexagons. Yeah, it looks like someone just cut the tops off dozens of hexagon tubes and stuck them with glue together, and that we saw the bottom.
And the inside, for some reason, it was all smooth, like
Some
naturally
parts were smooth, some parts were rocky.
Yeah, I know.
Again, something that would have been not. So much stuff is not explained, right?
Everything is not explained.
They spend so much time on things that don't matter that we don't get anything that does.
Yeah. Most confusing part to me is, why is it whenever they use their swords, they always get like red lightning on them?
Yeah, the good guys are associated with red lightning.
And the other guys are associated with blue lightning.
Yeah, in a kind of a twist from Star Wars where blue tended to be good and red tended to be bad, generally.
That is so confusing. Just the lightning.
Green.
Why would your sword have lightning? I mean, we're sort of in a fantasy.
We don't know if they're
era.
magic swords. They could be magic lightning swords.
I think everything's magical, especially since they're all like nobility, so, and they're guards and shit. But
so, I would recommend this movie if you are kind of a little bit of a Star Wars fan, a heavy fantasy fan. I would not recommend this as a casual viewing. You do have to pay a bit of attention to understand where things are going. I would say that it's probably one of the more. It's up there with one of the most boring movies I've watched in a while, especially of the fantasy genre. Usually, there's more excitement and action.
lasers and lightning. Well, not
Plot.
lasers.
People having developments. So I would recommend this if you're really, really into those kinds of movies. But if you're a casual viewer, I would not recommend this movie. It's very slow. It's very boring. I found myself yawning, and I like space movies.
Star Fantasy Wars.
Star Fantasy Wars. What about you, Buddha?
This whole movie could have been a 30-minute TV movie quite easily, and it would have had much more enjoyment and plot in it, and you could even put more into it. And almost no one I could think of would really like this movie, except for
The most die-hard.
not even the most die-hard, because they'd be like, why is this happening this way? Where's this? And why is this? And I can't even recommend this to anybody. It just
The most easily pleased. The people that are the most easily pleased with kind of that space high adventure.
with lasers.
Yeah,
Like,
lasers, swords.
In theory,
princesses.
this sounds great.
Yes,
like,
it does.
This sounds like it's a great concept, but the execution is so bad that it's almost. I recommend this for film students who are trying not to make bad movies.
It is how not to pace your movie. It's way too slow, and any momentum it gets, it sabotages itself by slowing itself down.
It's glacial, past glacial.
It's not quite glacial, but it's getting real close.
Not at the way, not the speed it was going. It's ungodly glacial.
It was very slow. So, I think that probably sews it up.
Yep.
Yeah, so this is Mike B and Buddha. And thank you for watching, and I hope you appreciate our recommendation. You probably shouldn't see this movie.
Just don't watch it.
Yeah, don't watch it, really. You'll probably have a better time watching almost anything else.
Just watch Conan the Destroyer.
Go watch
better.
Conan. Go watch Conan. Even Red Sonja is better than this movie, and that's saying something. Red Sonja, pretty shitty movie.
I haven't seen that movie in fucking years.
I watched the 3. It's shitty. Anyways, so thanks for watching, guys, and like, share, subscribe, of course. And if you have any comments, remember to leave them below. So that's Mike B and Buddha signing off.
See ya.
Bye.